Okay, welcome to class. And I'm just reflecting. We do have, let's see, what's our last day for class? It was the 24th, right? So we decided to go on a Tuesday. So we have today the 12th and next week the 19th. And then the next week, the 23rd. So after today, we really have 2 more weeks. And we're going to be talking about Gettysburg, the book Gettysburg. Isn't it the 24th that we'll talk about it, I think? Does anybody know? Jacoby, are you up on looking at the assignments? There's Lucy. Oh, and she left. How are you?
I'm good. My mute was on, so I didn't hear anybody starting.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Okay, we were asking if you would say the prayer, but maybe next week. So Hannah, were you going to answer that question that I had about Gettysburg? Nope. I know somebody was. Oh, Lily.
It's due on the 24th.
Okay.
Or at least talking about it on the 24th.
Yeah, we're talking about it on the 24th. So hopefully you will get your books in. I had ordered one. We had it here on our shelf, I thought, but Hannah and I can't find it anywhere, so I had to order another one. But it's a good thing that they're only $6. So get working on that. But I wanted today and the next couple of weeks, I kind of want to reflect on the things that we've learned. And I do want to go into today's lectures too, because we're going to be talking about the lost cause of this reconciliation, this fix after the horrible war. But I also want to think, we started way back in the history of the Indians that lived here, the Incans and the Mayans and the Aztecs, that prepared this land, that lived on this land for hundreds of years. And then what do we see, in the colonial times? What are some of the things that you can reflect and remember, the things that we learned this year? And I'm going to find the American history notes, and we'll use that to remember some of the things that we remember. Whoops. Okay, I found it. I'm just going to put the date and then share my screen. 12th, 2018. Okay, let me share my screen. Are you thinking? Think of some of the things that we have learned this year. Some things that you're going to take with you. Reflection is what we'll call this. What are some of the things that you learned? Lily.
Well, I learned how to take notes correctly, so to speak, because I used to not take very good notes, or I just couldn't tell the way that I set them out. I just couldn't tell what they all were. And so now I know how to take notes correctly, so I can research them.
Good. So it's helping you to see some things that you normally would forget if you didn't take notes, and research better. Good. What else? What else have you learned, Hannah?
See things from a different perspective. We believe in different things than Dave Raymond does, but we can see what other people might think.
Yeah, are you thinking of the Joseph Smith unit?
Mostly, but sometimes other things, like he'll say, in the Bible this happened, but sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, and you, I like that you said that you can see how other people think and think about certain things because of this class. It's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because we're not all Mormons on this earth, but our goal is to help love and inspire others. So if we know what they believe, we have a real big handle on getting to their heart, right? Really good. What are some other things that you are remembering that you learned this year? It can have something to do with things that you learned about yourself, like Lily and Hannah, and it can also be things in history that you know better now. You understand better. Let's go with Lucy and then Lily, just because Lucy, even though Lily had her hand up first, Lily's already had a turn. So let's go with Lucy and then Lily.
I really liked learning about the founding fathers, like their individual lives and how they saw the world, their worldview, because I don't know, I guess I used to think of them as just men, I guess, but now it's like more personal, knowing about just their personal lives.
Okay, maybe that kind of sums it up a little bit. Not just men, but they've given, but you can fill that in with what you want, but personal lessons for us. Good. I do like that. Yeah, they are not just men who did great things, but they're normal people, and we can be like them because we've learned about them. Love that. Lily.
I really like talking about slavery and really understanding it, because before this class I knew obviously what it was and how it went out, but now I actually know like some of the events that took place.
Okay, so what do you think has changed with you, your understanding?
I feel like now when people say things, I can like help them on it, or I can even help myself, like, okay, what does that really mean? Or now I can look at other stories differently and say, "Oh, I want to find the origins of that and see where that came
Okay, so you you're talking about kind of going through a process of, you've seen a bigger picture now of slavery, and so now you can go through a process of discussing with others. Good. I'm wanting you to go really deep with this. I'm going to ask you, what do you now know about slavery that you did not know before? What comes to mind?
Well, before I obviously knew that it was like wrong, but now I know some of the events, like from Tom's cabin, and I know, like, I don't know, it's just like a different level that I am aware of now. And
Awesome.
before I wasn't really aware of that.
So it's you're more aware, it's a little deeper inside. Good. If you can think of something specific about what might be deeper, raise your hand and share again. But that's really, really good. Okay, so what are some other things as you reflect on this whole year? Jacoby, we haven't heard from you. What's some things that are just coming to your mind that you you think you're going to remember more now because of this class?
I don't know. I think I've learned a lot over these past like 9 months or however long we've been doing it. Because like if I wouldn't have done this class, I wouldn't know about like the Civil War, what really happened and stuff like that.
Okay. Can I ask you deeply, what in your mind, and you could be real simple with this, but go deep, what really did happen in the Civil War? What is something that comes to mind?
Something that really did happen. Like I haven't watched any of the videos this week, but last week I remember that General Lee surrendered to Grant.
Yes. So finally the South surrenders, right? Good. Do you remember something? I remember you writing this in some of your assignments, but do you remember what the Civil War was about? We used to have one idea that we thought it might be about, but
Everyone thought it was about slavery, but it wasn't.
yeah, not so much about slavery. But what is it? What was it about? What thing? So the South wanted states' rights, and the North wanted unity, right? So the South wanted to get away and secede because they felt like the states should be able to choose a lot of things. But the North said, that's not a very safe thing to have a whole bunch of little countries right next to each other. It's better that we stay unified, right? I think today's lecture or yesterday's is going to talk a little bit about, it's going to go a little bit deeper, and I want to remember to talk about this. Yes, Lily.
This isn't super deep, but I was just thinking, and it was kind of not cool, but different to look through somebody's perspective, like somebody that has been through that, like kind of in the story when you're reading it. And so I think that is what helped me get a better understanding because of the words that were used. I could like really picture the story and how awful it was.
And which story are you talking about?
Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Uncle Tom's Cabin. Okay, yeah. Good. Good. Does anybody remember way back when in Salem, Massachusetts? Do we remember anything that happened there that might be helpful of how to treat other people? Yeah, Hannah?
The Salem witch trials.
Yeah. Sometimes we want to just kind of focus on the things that we've studied from January on, which was the founding fathers all the way to now, the Civil War. But what we studied before was even part of our heritage too. Hannah, what do you remember about the Salem witch trials? What are the things that come to your mind?
There were people who would tell stories of their childhood or of that their parents would tell them, and just because they said that, then people thought they were witches, so that they would have them go through trials and kill lots of them.
Good. How does it make us feel? How does it make us treat other people better now that we know that story? Anybody? Now that we know the story of the Salem witch trials, how are we going to treat people better? Yeah, Lucy.
I think it was, I don't know, I felt that the Salem witch trials were kind of foolish, I guess, because they weren't based on any evidence. But it taught me to be like less assuming and more trusting of people, because just assuming that someone is doing this thing just because they want to do it is just not Christ-like, I guess.
Yeah, good. Lily.
It's kind of helped me go through the think before you speak process a couple times. And just like, okay, like being logical before you get your emotions into it and believe something
Yeah,
else you created.
good. Okay, so let's continue on adding to this reflection week after week, the next 2 weeks. But I wanted us to, it's not a good idea to take a whole class and then not remember. It's really good to take a class and at the end, remember, reflect on those things that have grown in our mind. And as we repeat thinking about them, we create those synapses in our brain. I have shown you that video of the synapses, isn't that right? I think it was in the writing class, where the more we focus on something, the more we remember something, the more we make those connections, and the synapses grows deeper and stronger. And if we forget those things, then the synapses is not, connecting in our brain. So it's super important to take time after we've done something, debrief it, remember it, reflect. Does anybody remember the name President Spencer W. Kimball? He was my prophet when I was a young person. Said that the most important word is remember. We must always remember Christ, remember God, remember the commandments, remember the temple, remember our history so that we don't repeat it. But that's the most important word that we should always think about, is to remember. And so that's what our job is in education, is to learn, but then remember. And our notes, like Lily said at the very beginning, as we take notes, annotate things, and we keep a good Google Doc going, or wherever you're going to take your notes, you're going to have that help to remember. So good. All right. Now I want to turn the time over to some of you. Let's take maybe 15 minutes or so and tell me some of the things that you've learned this week. Now, Jacoby, I think you've been doing testing all week. Is that right? Who else, by raise of hands, has been doing testing? Anybody else? No? Okay. And Lily, are you with the Harmony Ed or not? Have you been doing testing this week at all?
No, I think mine is next week.
Is next week. Okay. So, yeah, testing does take time, and it takes us away from some of the real great learning that we could be doing, but it's okay. It needs to be done if you're going to. We believe in getting some help from the state to pay for education. And so testing comes with it. And that makes sense. However, for those of you who watch the videos, what are some of the things that you are thinking about? I think, Lucy, did you have your hand raised, I think, or not? No, you were just doing something like this. Okay, let's go to your notes. And I'm going to open up my notes. I think they're open somewhere. There they are. Okay. So the principle, does anybody remember what the principle is for this week? Do you remember? Yeah, Lucy.
Was it the lost cause?
Yes. It was the lost cause. So what's the cause? Let's just kind of think about what's the cause that we're really trying to discuss here. We've had the war. There's been some surrendering going on, right? Jacoby, you brought that up. And our president was shot and killed, but he had a vision. He had a vision to heal the nation, but he was shot. He may have been the only one that had a really good vision of what is it that I'm talking about. Yeah, Hannah.
Wasn't it about the paradox?
What did you say? Paradox?
Yeah.
Was that about faith and justice? Yeah. And President Lincoln had a vision about the reconciliation. Okay. Let's discuss what that word means. To reconcile. What does that mean? Yeah, Lucy. These L words got me. What does that mean?
It's like to make up to one another. So if you've been in a fight, then you're like apologizing, and it's like, I guess, restoring your relationship, I guess.
Good. Restoring that relationship. Let's say that I was not very kind to Hannah, and let's say that I want to reconcile. And so first of all, I go to Heavenly Father on my knees, asking Him to help me. Because sometimes people don't want to receive, they don't want to receive that love and that reconciliation. And so it's good to go first to Heavenly Father to ask for some help, or at least help so that I can be okay if they don't want to accept my love. So in reconciling, we go to our Heavenly Father, right? And then we go straight, to the person or people we have offended, right? And then sincerely, because that's important, we need to remedy or fix the problem. Help to, I like what you said, restore what was there before. Okay? We need to restore and ask forgiveness. And just keep helping to build the relationship. Okay? So Abraham Lincoln had the vision about this reconciliation with the South. Now he couldn't do anything unless he comes back as an angel. But angels really can't do anything unless they can help other people who are living. So this is a huge problem, this reconciliation. Who watched the videos that can help me with this discussion today? By raise of hands.
I watched some of them.
Okay, Lucy and then Hannah watched a couple. Okay, our discussion might be a little short today. Lily, did you watch all of them or some of them?
I've watched some of them. I haven't watched the one from yesterday yet.
Okay, let's see. So the one from Monday, let's talk about how it's a lost cause. Okay, I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller so I can see my notes. If I move this over here. Can everybody see this screen still if I move it like I did? Okay. All right. So tell me, what do we know about why this is a lost cause? What are some reasons why it was a lost cause? Maybe before we go into that, let's talk about
Because it would be
Oh, go ahead, Hannah.
because it would be so hard to do, so they thought it wouldn't work.
Okay, it was hard to do. Let's kind of explore the principles here. So G.K. Chesterton is a Catholic. So Dave Raymond is not a Catholic, but he's quoting this Catholic, and this guy is really great. He's written some great books and some great quotes. He's very religious. Let's have somebody read this for us, and I want you to look in this this quote for maybe what might be some of the problem. Who would like to read for us? Lily. Is it big enough? Do you want me to make it bigger?
Read where? Where did you want me to read?
Let's see, I need to make this bigger. I'm just trying to make my screen bigger.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can read this, can you see that?
Not all of it.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lincoln may have been right that he was bound to preserve the Union, but it was not the Union that was preserved. A union implies that two different things are united. It would have been the Northern and Southern cultures that were united. As a fact, it was the Southern culture that was destroyed, and it was the Northern that ultimately imposed not a unity, but merely an uniformity.
Uniformity.
Mm-hmm. But that was not Lincoln's fault. He died before it happened, and it happened because he died.
Okay, there's two ideas in here. The last two sentences is one idea. But let's not go there right now. Now, let's not talk about that it's not Lincoln's fault, that it died before it happened and it happened because he died. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the main problem that G.K. Chesterton is finding. This is kind of a complicated idea, but let's start picking it apart and finding little things in there so that we can figure it out. So let's analyze it. What are some of the things in there that you see that could be a problem? Lily.
How some people were trying to unite, but they just conflicted more, and they didn't.
Okay, good. I think that's getting somewhere. Yes, Lucy.
So, he was talking about how the Union was there to protect the Union, but they really destroyed the Southern culture. So, much of the distinctive cultures were lost because I think the Union was so focused on making it our country unified, so that there shouldn't be any differences in the areas.
Yes, you hit the nail right on the head. So this was the basic idea. Let's have unity to protect the Union. You have really good available, you use words very well, Lucy. You've got a very good talent with that. You've built your skill, and it's probably because of all the notes that you take. Maybe you know better, but you really have a great ability to articulate. I'm impressed. So, but in the process of this, in the process of trying to do this, distinctive cultures were lost. Distinctive cultures were lost. That means, okay, now we are going to push out this Southern culture. What was the Southern culture? Just blurt it out. Who knows? What do we know about the Southern culture? Jacoby? What do we know about it?
There was slavery.
Yes. They thought slavery was right. It helped them. It was good. And these men were inferior, so they're really not men. That was their thoughts. It was slavery. It was agriculture. It was the slow life, the sit on your porch and enjoy life culture. The North culture was industrial, factories, busy life, produce. And what it was it moved what Lucy and what Lily said is it moved this Northern culture and crowded out the Southern culture so that they could not live what they were used to living. And even G.K. Chesterton said, yeah, he may have been right to preserve this union. And G.K. Chesterton also says somewhere else that it is right that slavery should not have existed and we need to get rid of it. But what he said was it was the Southern culture that was destroyed. And they're still trying to find out who they are. Did you know that there exists a great prejudice in the South still? A huge prejudice. They've never healed from it. We've never had a reconciliation. We've just bombarded and taken over, and they never got to heal. So, as you go and you serve a mission, and if you ever get called to the South, or if you marry some wonderful man who gets a great job in the South, you are going to be miles ahead of the game if you remember this, and you go to the South wanting to love, to sincerely love these people. And I don't think you need to ask for forgiveness, but you just need to keep building relationships and helping them see who Christ was and the love that he's given, and love them for who they are. Definitely go to Heavenly Father and ask for help. But some of you may get called on a mission to the South. This history class and this lesson is going to help you to continue trying to make that reconciliation that just didn't ever happen. Interesting, right? Okay, what are some of the thoughts that come to your mind as we're talking about this?
I always thought that they had reconciled, but I guess not. Mom, it's snowing.
Oh my goodness, it is snowing. Can anybody see the snow come down? Probably not. It's too small, but it looks big to me. Interesting, Hannah. Funny. So yeah, you now know. So what are some other thoughts that are coming to your mind about what we've talked about? What are some of your feelings? What does that make you want to do? Lily.
Kind of like I said before, but look more deeply into things so I can really understand them and what I'm doing, because I could be doing that in my day-to-day life. Not exactly that situation, but I could be doing something along the lines of that and not fully know it. But if I look deeper into what I'm doing, I can understand it.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, Jacoby, before you leave, I wanted to kind of close the class out, because it's kind of tough to have a good discussion when only a couple of you have watched some of the videos.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So what I want you to do is take the next 20 minutes of this class, and we'll leave, and I want you to get ahead. I want you to be able to watch those videos and get ahead. And next Thursday, hopefully you will have watched all those videos so we can have some material to really discuss, really get into it, annotate. And I hope that you will recognize how important it is for you to do these assignments, that you can help with the discussion. So anyway, I feel like we've discussed some great things, and we've reflected on some wonderful things that you've learned over the year. You're really doing well. Just do a little bit better. Stay with me. We only have a few weeks left. I know there's temptation to go and do other things, but just stay with me. Some of the best stuff is coming. Look for lessons that are going to help you become the very best you. Okay? So with that, we're going to end the class 20 minutes early, and use that time wisely to go in and watch those videos, okay? And annotate and be ready to discuss on Thursday. Yes, Hannah?
Aren't we going to see them all on Saturday?
Yes, and we're going to see you all on Saturday. That'll be good. Thank you, Hannah, for saying that. That's good. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming.